Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome back to another edition here at Slimy Green Garage. While we're working on our big, beautiful, buildable, blue, big block Riviera. And where we left off on that last video, well, we tore into those brakes. And the brake pads were great. Lots of rust. We cleaned that up, made it look good, but we found out, as we should have known, yeah, right from the start, that the rubber brake lines on the front were garbage. So, now, we've got new rubber brake lines. Shorties. I hope that y'all, by the way, had a wonderful Thanksgiving and that you're all feeling refreshed and not oversaturated by all that wonderful food that we probably, a large percentage of us, ate too much. But we're gonna get these brake lines on today. We're gonna bleed our master cylinder because I went ahead and bought the fittings and the hose kit to do that. And we're gonna see if we can make, you know, that stuff work in there. So without further ado, God bless you guys. Let's get the wheel off. Let's get started on this video because I'd like to at some point be able to start the car, put it in gear, and maybe be able to just hold it there or to move it and then stop it. That kind of stuff. Anyway, yep, might as well just get to work. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna put these mittens on. Yeah, I know what some of you guys call these. Yeah, I don't care, to be honest with you. Call them whatever you want. Call me whatever you want. I've been called so many names over the years. Those things don't even faze the person at a certain point. I go in the house and I get dirty fingerprints all over the place. Guess what? I'm the one getting chewed out. So there you have it. Whew. Lug nuts back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and lug nuts in. Now will the wheel come off easier this time? Oh yeah, it's much better. Slider there, come on. Yeah. So, rubber line, we've got our hard line. So hard line off the caliper up to the rubber brake line on this end. Yeah, pretty straightforward. As long as you guys tell me where the new hose is. And we also need our clips. So if you guys paid attention in the last video, one of our clips for the rubber brake line, well, half of it was missing. So I went to the help section at the local parts store today. And well, they're doing a whole revamp of the parts store. And the help section was not put together, so that was a strike out against us. But I went next door. There is a service station. And the owner there was gracious enough to take me back to the junk bin, basically. We don't call it junk, though. Where there was a multitude of brake parts, and I was just finding tons of stuff for drum brakes. But when I was about to give up, we found this one clip, and that's all we needed. And he didn't even charge me. So that was fantastic. All right, driver's side, done. Got to zip around the passenger side, put that in, and we'll probably do all that before we put our wheels back on, but without shining light in your eyes. Put on a little backlight, not bright enough, not red, that'll do. So you can see, connected on the top side to our original hard line. And then if you come around back here, you can see where our hard line connects to the caliper. And then it comes up and around and it connects right here to our mount for the other side of the rubber hose. Does it sound like there's an echo in here when I talk? Am I talking too loud now? Is this a good place to do some more singing? I do appreciate on that last video, the helpful comment reminding me that my musical gift, well, I don't know. Maybe it's not that good. It is. Definitely should have done that before we put it all back together. You know, it's just that we got this brand new fresh paint on here. Yep, not for long. Little this, little that. Count to 10. Yep. Okay, got that part done. You know what? This upper ball joint's welded on this side too. I thought we saw that on the driver's side, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know, maybe both upper ball joints have been replaced at one point. Hey, there we go. Broke loose super easy. Press on the brake pedal and you can just see that it's doing things that resemble brake things. Okay, and puts on the pedal. Are you watching? And press and hold, release. Press and hold, release. All right, you saw the thing. It did stuff. Ouch! Oh, that hurt! Ah! I told myself I was going to be more careful. I needed that time away over Thanksgiving to heal some stuff. So let's not just like screw that all up right away, you know? Get the front done, get the back on. Our bleeder's opened up partially on the passenger side. I don't know about over here on the drinkers. Okay, that's good. Get the fitting out. Okay. And get our line hooked back up. Hopefully, easily. And tight. I'm going to top off those reservoirs. We have our fittings reinstalled on that master cylinder. I'm going to open the bleeder on the driver's side. And we're going to see if this thing will gravity bleed some. So a little bit of a fun fact for you. Used in the water industry, where I came from for a lot of years, but for every foot of elevation, it creates 0.433 psi. So, you want to do it the other way? For every 2.31 feet, you create 1 psi. So, from the master cylinder height of the fluid at the top, down to our caliper, where the bleeder screw's at, if we took a measurement, I can tell you it's maybe just over a foot total height difference between the bleeder and our fluid. So we're creating less than just less than 1/2 psi. 1/2 of a pound, 0.433. And I'll go ahead and get our wrench to crack this bleeder. I'm going to open this one up over here. Now we wait. Now can you see the bleeder? That's right here, okay? Loosen it a little bit. You know, you think, gravity, do your thing. But if I pressed on that brake pedal, something would happen. If we get too impatient, we'll just ask the wife if she'll help us. Anything? What the heck you guys been doing? I don't see nothing. Talk to it, encourage it. Brake booster, gravity bleed, and action. Go, go, brake bleeder. Well, we're gonna use up all our storage on our drive just to catch this moment. Would you just do something? Hello? Nope? Nothing? Okay, how about now? Nope. Are we there yet? Nope. Nothing. We might have to just do what we have to do anyway and ask for help. Fine. I mean, I don't mind asking for help when I need it. See, that was a big waste of time, you guys. Well, the wife said she was willing to help me out, but she decided to take a nap, and so I thought, I'm just gonna pump the brakes in this old girl. Like, pump them up. I closed both the bleeders and pumped those brakes up, and then I cracked the bleeder, started on the driver's side, a little bit of air. and then a little bit of fluid. Closed it up, went to the passenger side, pumped it up. A little bit of air, and took a couple times there for the passenger side. But what I'm trying to tell you, if you're not paying attention, are you paying attention? Anyway, we are now gravity bled on our calipers. So I guess what we get to do now is go ahead and throw these tires back on here, and then once the tires are on, we've got the fuel tank pulled out, and I think we can, because we cleaned the tank out, we're gonna throw the tank back in. And based off some of the comments, which I greatly appreciate, by the way, we are probably going to retrofit a new fuel pump onto our original pickup assembly. So let's get the wheels back on here, and then we'll get the car up in the air. We'll get the fuel tank reinstalled, and then we'll go from there. Let's do it. Boom! If it makes you all happy, I'm gonna put on my quick mittens. Not the, what do you call those mittens anyway? These are quick and easy, right? Let's get our impact, which is probably hiding over here, right where we left it. And we will go ahead and get this wheel put back on the old driver's side. I'm excited. Are you excited? Hopefully our brakes work now. We do have a coolant leak, which we're aware of. All sorts of opportunities to get better. Always learning, always getting better. That is the goal. Don't expect to be perfect all the time, because it don't matter if you want to be. It ain't gonna happen. Okay, lug nuts. Does anybody want to donate new lug nuts and Buick center caps? Because that would be cool. Yeah, the center caps for these wheels. If you got any laying around that you're not going to use, that would be awesome. Number 3 started. No, this is number 3. Get yourself together, will you? We're still having a great time out here in the shop. We're making progress. While I was back in my hometown, I did buy some different smaller size exhaust manifold studs that will hopefully be the right size for our application. There again, we're just slowly starting those. Go over here. Yep. That's good. Number 4. And number 5. And then we'll do one more round. 2, 3, 4, and number 5. That wasn't so hard. Does the wheel still turn? Yep. If I could have had my wife out here, she could have pressed on the brake pedal and we could have tested on that. But we're probably gonna have to wait till it's back out on the ground, so guys, can we do this? Is it possible? Oh, we got all sorts of crap in our way. Are you kidding me? Clean up this place. The tires in our way. Can we get the stool through here? No, it's going fine. Exactly the way that we planned it. Okay. Settle back in. Boom. Passenger side wheel. About ready to go back on. Oh, this is the best looking wheel on this car. The old trailer wheel. And lift. Heavier than it looks, by the way. Yep. But that one fits on there like a dream. In fact, it slides on there better than the factory wheels. Numero 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? I don't know, something like that. There's number 3, number 4, and number 5. We did not bleed out the rear wheels for the rear brakes. We'll get around to that. one step at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam! Okay. Now this wheel, this one doesn't turn quite as easy. My hope is that after we get this car moving a little bit, this one will free up a little bit, not be so tight. But we're all going to find out at the same time, because it's going to be a surprise to all of us, is what I'm trying to tell you. Once we get this thing on the ground, running under its own power, and outside of this garage. But I would like to have the factory fuel tank back in, getting fuel from the factory fuel tank. And so, yeah, we got to work on that. So at this point, we could probably actually just go ahead and lift it up in the air, reinstall the fuel tank. Like, again, we cleaned out the tank as good as we're going to do it. And then we can go ahead and get our new pump ordered. There's no reason to not go ahead and test the original fuel pump, although the odds that it is going to do anything, probably not great, but we will test it and I'll show you. Okay? So, ground wire, 12 volts, positive battery power. If it makes noise, maybe it's fine. The fuel sock, you did see when we pulled the fuel tank out, it's garbage. And so we need to get a fuel sock on that pickup, and then we will obviously have a new fuel filter up front here. We will replace any rubber lines that need replaced. Yeah, I guess that's where we're at. So what do we got to do? Go up? Is that all there is to it? Quit talking, get back to work. You guys have been awesome, by the way. We are just having a great time on the old, beautiful, big block, blue, beautiful, buildable Riviera. How many of those words did I repeat in that one sentence? When I came back from the hometown, Uncle Tom sent me back with, well, some cool stuff. I got some storage containers here. I got this tarp and some sheets, but my Uncle Tom, amazing guy, by the way. Let me just tell you about him for a little bit. Well, he, brother to my daddy, is a craftsman. So he had built a gun cabinet probably 50 years ago. And he's at the point in life where they're starting to get rid of some stuff. And so he wanted to know if I wanted this gun cabinet that he built. And I'm going to retrofit it, put some shelves in it so we can display some of the cool stuff that we got when we eventually get our office done in the mezzanine. So I brought that back, glass doors, so we had to protect those, hence the tarp and the sheets. That's what's on top of the car currently. But yeah, we'll get this car lifted up. Thank you, Tom, for being the awesome individual that you've been and a great mentor. You know, you young kids, if you would listen to 10% of what your elders speak to you, if you would try to listen to at least, 10% of what they're saying, you would be a lot better for it. I know that I am. And I still got a lot to learn, but I'm gonna do it. Let's get this sucker up in the air. You know where the button's at. Don't tell me what I need to do, I already know. Going up! How many more want to go? Want to do another one? Let's do it! Boom! Yes! Boom! Another one! One more! Let's do another one! One more! I just want to do one more. Okay, that's good enough. You guys, quit getting so excited about everything. Let it down gently. This is a heavy car. It's 11,000 pound lift, but this car is long, it's stretched out, and it's heavy. Great. Now we're back under this pile. No, as you guys saw earlier, the underneath of this car is actually very solid. This rubber hose is garbage. It's a short piece. We need to swap that out. What kind of clip? Oh, that clip just disintegrated in my hands. Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, here's part of it. So after a car has been sitting for a while, you might find that some of your parts have corroded just a little bit. It might be important to go ahead and, yeah, maybe change some of that stuff while you are in the area that you're working. There is something to be said about working efficiently. So we're trying to get better about that. Obviously, that fuel sending pickup unit had been changed at one point or taken out because we had a newer clip right there at the unit. But where it attaches to the hard line that goes to the front of the car, that's where we have our little broken piece. Can we get that hose off there? Are we gonna have to cut it? Most likely, because nothing ever works as smoothly as you want it to. Hey, I about got the rest of the clip. Be patient. There it is. Do you see it? Look closely. Focus. Yep. Stuff that in the pocket. That's off. I can pull this thing out here, where it's easy to get to. Oh, it's gonna come off too, I bet. It's turning on the line, so I'm just turning, pulling gently. That will allow us to cut the new line at the exact same length if we don't screw it up. Boom! Look at that. So that makes it easy. We'll just put those on our non-refurbished seats. We also had our vent line, and we have this ground cable that goes up to the fuel sending unit that needs some repair. Where did that hose go? Is it still on the tank? Yep, because oh, it's got two lines come off there. We're missing stuff. Fine, whatever. Cobwebs. It might make sense to go ahead and remove this cable, put a new end on it while we're in this area, and then we can clean up that ground too. So that is a 1/4 inch. Let me go grab it. I guess my wife was gonna go grab us a couple deers, but she had to stoke the fire at the wood stove. So I'm not gonna rush her because she's got stuff going on. That actually is coming out really good, happy about that. And then we can clean up on the frame here. Make sure that is a good ground. Piece of cake. Come out here. Look at me while I'm talking to you. So, my wife just came back out with new refreshments, and you know how much she loves being on the old YouTube, but if you look at the top of this, you can see right here, that's where our ground strap went. And it appears that it was soldered onto here. So we're gonna have to get a little creative in how we handle repairing that particular item. You can see our fuel pump right here. And there again, there's a Ford part number that supposedly works with this, but look at all this. We got this 90-degree special setup here. Oh, I don't even know. Don't know about all this. Hopefully, we can reuse some of this. Apparently, they do not make a replacement for this, and so a lot of people retrofit. I could put a frame-mounted fuel pump in here, and then we could just put a fuel line even down here to stick to the bottom of the tank. But we want this, you know, to do what it does. Know how much fuel we have. So we hopefully we can make this work. And I probably need to do a little more research just to make sure that there's nothing out there for sale that would work in this particular situation. What does it say on here right now? I can't see. Lighting is not good enough. There's some writing on this fuel pump. A-T-R. Oh, it's the air T again. I bet it's A-I-R-T-E on this actual pump assembly. But we're gonna have to do some digging into this. So let me take a break, hang out with the wife, and I will be back with you, and we will try to diagnose and figure out what we're gonna do next. This does not change the fact that we can go ahead and clean up our frame. We can mount our wire back on the frame for the ground. and maybe just put a new wire in there too. That will be plenty long for reconnecting to this unit. We can get that fuel tank back up in there. At least that is tucked away, and we can get whatever parts ordered that we need to. And then we can wait, you know, till what, the New Year's, because everybody's ordering things for Christmas at this point, and so getting things on time ain't gonna happen. Amazon delivery does not occur in 2 days, even if you're a Prime member, if that makes any sense. You guys get it. Well, before we go to reinstall the fuel tank in the car, we need to go ahead and work on what was our fuel pump and sending unit. So I did do a little research last night. Currently, they do not make a reproduction fuel sending unit with the fuel pump inside the tank. So what they do sell aftermarket are just the sending unit without the fuel pump. You would have to obviously mount a electric fuel pump outside of the tank. That's what we're gonna do, but we're not gonna pay for a new sending unit when this one's still good. So you got 2 wires that plug into your factory harness. Your tan wire is for your sending unit, and the blue wire is for the fuel pump. So we're basically going to remove the fuel pump off this sending unit and the strap. And at that point, we will also no longer need this blue wire, at least connected on this sending unit. We will take the harness that's coming from the front that attaches to this, and the blue wire coming from there we will use for our frame mounted fuel pump that we're going to be using. So first things first, I need to just go ahead and I'm going to snip our wires that go down to the fuel pump itself. They're not necessary with what we are doing. And then I'll get a pair of pliers and we'll get that removed. Hopefully this little project goes smooth for us this morning. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, but never speak too quickly. No reason why we shouldn't be able to get this out. Now, thanks to one of the comments on one of the previous videos, I did tell you that some people have retrofitted. It was a Ford fuel pump. I can't remember the part number. We could have attempted to do that on this, probably with success. But we're just going to go a little bit different route. Like I said, we're just going to mount our new fuel pump on the frame. There's our fuel pump. I guess we did say that we were going to test this, but well, we didn't. Okay, we're all settled on that. I'm also going to cut this power strap that comes down to our fuel pump just up here close to the top. That way it's out of our way. Got it. Now that can be removed. Now we should be able to remove our hose. You see it is a 90-degree elbowed hose, and hopefully it will work for our purposes, but we're just going to attach a fuel hose to the bottom of this unit, and it will just kind of curve and be cradled in this cradle here where our factory fuel pump went. I think that should work pretty good for us. Then obviously we will put a filter, a pre-fuel pump filter in, also probably mounted to the frame, and hopefully that setup will work just fine for us. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. So we just got some 3/8 fuel line. Yeah, I got a pair of cutters that would work a lot better for this, but they're 15 feet away from here. All right, well, we're going with this newer style clamp. Should work just fine. Now what you do see here is I don't want to bend this too much here. We bring this underneath, that is better. We just set it in just like so. Everything's out of the way. Good enough. So the other thing we have to repair is that ground wire that we were talking about. So I got the soldering iron out. So we have this new wire that we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and attempt to solder this wire right to our main ground there on the body of the sending unit. Our old wire is right here, as you can see. And I'm going to mimic the length. I'll leave us a little extra just to make our lives a little easier. Well, if it's tight, I think we got her. Let's find out. Oh yeah. Well, you can see what we got there. You look close. Our ground wire is repaired. And it's not swiveling on there. It is tight. It will work. I think that's it for this job. We could probably go ahead and put this back in the tank. I'm curious to see our access for remounting this strap if we just put it back in. But we're going to go ahead and stick it back in the tank. It can only go in one way, so that's good. And the problem is, I believe the strap that we bent to support the fuel line, I don't think we're going to be able to have it that way. It's not seating all the way down. Of course, we know the bottom of our tank is caved in to a certain degree in that area, so if we were able to get some of that dent out, it might seat, but at any rate, we're going to have to pull this back out. Well, sometimes things don't go exactly the way you want them to, so we tried to put our refurbished, no longer fuel pump, but sending unit into the tank, only to find out that it wouldn't go in because our tank had some damage. It was dented in on the bottom. And then I made the fatal mistake. Well, first I tried to put compressed air in the tank to see if we could just pop out the bottom. That didn't work, so I used my stud welder to try and pull this out, and now we have a hole in the tank. Big ol' dent over on this side. I could cut it open, we could go down that route, but I just don't know what I want to do there yet. We're so close on getting this car to where it'll actually drive out of the garage, and it'd sure be nice if we had a permanent fuel system back in place. There is a company out there that's very reasonable, bestoffercounts.com, and they provide a fuel tank, a new fuel sending unit. Obviously, you would have to mount your fuel pump, outside of the tank, which isn't a big deal, and that's what we plan on doing anyway. But for the fuel tank, the fuel sending unit, new fuel filler neck, and straps, it's $450, which isn't a bad deal. We just don't have the money right now to put that into this car. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot, so to speak, at the moment. So I think what we need to do in finishing up this video is get the car back up in the air again. We did buy the different size exhaust studs to go into our exhaust manifolds so we can get the short sections of exhaust pipe just put back on the car that will eventually hook exhaust up to. So we can do that, and then I think realistically we can probably put the car back down on the ground, and then we will probably, for right now, pull the car out of the garage. Maybe buy a tarp to put over the car because it leaks at the windshield. We don't want any water getting back in there. And we're probably going to have to put this particular project on hold until we get some money saved up or we get one of those other project vehicles sold. So it's been a lot of fun working on this car. Let's go ahead and get it back up in the air. We'll get those exhaust studs in and then see if there's a few other things that we might tidy up before. Unfortunately, I think we just have to, there again, just put it on hold for a while. We've made a lot of progress on this car, and I'm looking forward to doing a whole lot more, but right now, this car needs money, and they all do, obviously, but this one, there's some higher dollar items that we just don't have the funds for right now. So the Mustang that we have sitting outside, well, we've got parts to put on that car that don't cost us money, it's just the time. And so most likely, we'll be bringing that 1969 Mustang back into the shop and doing some work on that, and eventually get a new fuel tank, sending unit, get that up in the car, continue our efforts on the interior. The alternator still isn't charging. I think the alternator is just shot, but I need to further diagnose that and make sure we're going down the right avenue there. But yeah. Anyway, just wanted to give you an update. Fuel tank needs replaced. Temporarily, we could put that, you know, that boat tank in the trunk, and we could tie it into our hard line, get some battery powered 12 volts positive back to the trunk to run our fuel pump. And we might do that, or we might just keep that boat tank up in front just so it can be taken out of the garage and parked until further notice. Today. Idle, we can have a little fun with it. One more. Okay, I'll let her back down nice and easy. Okay, so we're good. This happens in life, folks. You can't just go out there and make things happen overnight. Sometimes when you're on a budget, and we are on this car, you just do the best that you can with what you have, and there's nothing wrong with that. And most people, well, you guys are like me, you understand. So we're pointing up there on our passenger side exhaust manifold. All right, you guys got your eyes open? Yeah, so yeah, we definitely, hopefully these are the right size this time. It's okay, those other exhaust studs that we bought, we will definitely put those to use on a future project. Oh, we got different length ones here too, so we have options. So you can see we put a little ANSIs on there. Let's see if these ones, they definitely look better than the last ones that we tried to install. As long as our threads are halfway clean, I'm hoping that these just go right in. There we go. Yeah, well, it starts pretty decent. Let's find out what socket will fit on the end of that. So if we just put our screwdriver on the end of that, and we may have to work it a little bit, you know, because the threads inside those manifolds could be a little gummed up, but that's gonna work. I'm excited about that. Let's see if we can get this one started here. Awful close to the transmission line. That is not convenient. Let's see. Let's point you up a little more. There you go. Definitely starting though. That's awesome. All right, you still with me? Let's see. This one here. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah. If we were able to get that on there, that would kick it out in that direction, which kind of makes sense. Yeah, I think we're okay. We just need a little flexibility in this line, if it has any to offer. Come on in. Come on. Yep. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, that's what we wanted right there. Beautiful. A lock washer and a nut, and we will be rocking and rolling right here, kids. Hopefully you're still kind of looking up in the area we're working in. Oh, don't drop that lock washer. Get on there. Once we get this thing started, it'll hopefully get a little easier for us. Yep. Our second one. Oh, dropped our lock washer. As you can see, the area that we're working in is not ideal, but we can do it. Hopefully that line, I might have to tighten up this one side, just kind of hold our pipe a little bit for us. Of course, it's threading on super nice. And I can turn it like so. And this one, of course, might have to pull down on that line. Oh, I think it's gonna be okay. Yep, I think it's starting, so. Gonna be a little of a pain getting a socket on there with that line the way it is. How'd they do it from the factory? Potentially, the studs might have been a little bit shorter, but what are we, 9/16 on those? All of you working on your own projects, you understand there are certain things that you would think when you're working on your vehicle, this is gonna be a piece of cake. And some of the simplest things to do end up taking the most time I guess I am thankful, at least the engineering on most of the older cars was user-friendly, but not everything's perfect. Transmission lines are in the way. But it's doable. How about this? Super long extension. We can get it pried in there. Oh yeah. Then we just got to get back out, right? Pull on the lines. There we go. Now we can tighten up the other side and we're halfway done. Nice work. Looks good. Let me bring you back a little bit. You can see what we got. Comes down and around. Comes straight with this X-frame, and then right underneath of you, that's where the pipe is supposed to extend back. Well, I saved you the pain and misery from watching me do the driver's side exhaust. But this side, surprisingly, not surprisingly, because there were no lines in our way, went very well. So you can see it comes off our manifold, curves out to the outside of our X-frame, and points straight back to where it would have originally gone. So I believe this is 2-inch exhaust. If we have the opportunity to do more work to this car, I will probably go ahead and order some, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe just glass packs, shorties. These are slightly adjustable when you loosen the nuts on the exhaust manifold. But you can see that they're both pointing out and back. And so for today's purposes, passenger side complete, driver side complete. We can get stuff out of our way. We can get the car back down on the ground. And what we might be able to do today is to get this car back out of the garage. So I got to give you a different angle though. One of the cool things, the way the shop's set up, is when you walk in, you know, we got our 55, we got the 70 Chevelle, and we got this big, beautiful blue buildable Buick, big block, sitting on the hoist, and it just looks so good up there. We just happened to come to the place in time that a lot of people do, where we're just out of funds to put into this car for the time being. So I'm gonna get it back out on the ground. We're gonna make a list of the known things that we still need to do. But for now, we can get the shop cleaned back up. We can park the Buick outside, get it covered so no more water gets inside the car. Obviously, there's no carpet or anything in there to hold water at this point. But we don't want any more rust happening on the inside. So we'll make sure that we cover the top of the car. And unless something happens to get us to the point where we can get the parts that we need, we're just gonna have to let this particular car sit for just a little while longer. But we've come such a long way. The engine runs, the transmission does those things, the brakes, well, they should stop. We're gonna have to get the seat out of here. I don't know if we stuff that back in the car. I'm kind of running out of space here in the shop. Let's get it back down on the ground. Let's get the car started. Open the garage door, test on the brakes to see if they actually hold the car when it's in gear, and we'll probably pull the car out. You will see the car move under its own power, stop under its own power, and that's probably where we end this video. So let's get you back up here. Can you see what's happening? Oh yeah, this is a pretty good spot to look from. Not bad at all. Release and down. So smooth. Don't worry about another 14 seconds. The tire should be touching the ground. We can get our arms pulled out from underneath the car. We can start this car for the first time in, well, it's been, what, a couple weeks? Maybe a week. See if those brakes work. And get this girl parked back outside. Get this car out of here, we can actually clean up our messes. Regroup, think about what our next steps are. garage door is up, and for the first time in how many years are we gonna be able to hop in this car, kneel down with the left leg while we're working our right one on the old gas and brake pedal? Are we gonna be able to pull this car out safely, park it in its, well, temporary new home as we store it outside? I wish, like every one of you, I wish I had a storage building big enough to keep all these cars out of the weather and protected. But that's not what we have here. I knew when I built this shop, because it's what we could afford at the time and it's not done, that it was gonna function as a good workspace, usable workspace, I should say. But we can't store all our stuff in here. It's not possible. Let's see how easy this thing fires up, or if it will. Reconnect our positive battery post, fuel pump, clickety clack. She's doing fuel pump things. All right, let's see what happens. All right. I can't drive 55, and we wouldn't want to take her up to 55 and no seat in the first place, so we'll give it one pump, see what happens. Help me bleed them more than just that gravity bleed that we did, but it will stop the car as long as it's not on an incline. Look at that big, beautiful thing. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna back it up right to my grandpa's Ford over there. So why don't you just stay put? One knee. That was a lot of fun getting her over here. Hey, I just want to tell you all how much I appreciate you watching the channel. We got a lot more fun to come, Lord willing, but the 1969 Buick has moved under its own power, stopped barely under its own power for the first time, and I got to tell you, a long time. Look at it. Sounds good. Needs some exhaust. Need to make the brakes better. We need to make sure it charges. I think I'm going to back it up just a hair more, and I guess that's where we say thank you again for watching. Go out into the world, use the superpowers, gifts, and talents that God gave you to make the world a better and brighter place. Everybody's going through something, so if you are capable and the Lord calls you to it, help as you can and keep doing awesome things. I love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.